Hello, Fabulous Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of September 2018. Looking at life and love. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What an amazing month it is. And for you in particular, it is one of those standout moments. And really, as I look at the sky and I look at this month ahead, I think it's one of those times you're going to look back and realize that it was this month of September that some of the most important beginnings took place for you. And part of what is so important is the new moon. There's going to be a new moon right around the 9th of the month, give or take a day on either side, depending on where you are on the planet. And this new moon is happening in your sign. It is speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, in harmony with Jupiter, and also standing across the sky from Neptune. So there are a couple of ways I'm seeing this play out. Ultimately, when there is a new moon in your sign, now normally you get one per year, and this is your moment, it is as if it is a new year for you. So it is your personal new year. Now this is one that has a lot of power to it. It is that connection with Pluto that inspires me most. It tells me that there is some power move that you are taking, some realization you're having about yourself, and some sense of connection to your own inspiration, your own healing that is taking place. Now, what changes for you? Really, this is the beginning of a process, a new journey where you could transform yourself from the inside out. Now, whether that is a transformed understanding of yourself and who you really are, a whole other way of considering how it is that you present yourself to the world, and if it truly is representative of your most powerful best. Well, these are some of the ways in which you will gain at this time, and some of the ways in which you will start to feel more like yourself than you have in a while. It is that connection with Neptune, though, that I think is especially interesting. And the reason is because when we have a new moon in your sign, for that matter, standing across from Neptune, it tends to denote that along with all these other wonderful indications, along with these wonderful new beginnings that are happening for you, part of the journey that gets you there, part of the journey that gets you in touch with your power, and gets you in touch with this immense ability you have right now to be reborn in a way that you love very much. It means looking at the places in your life where it's felt like things haven't necessarily gone the way that you wanted. Now, this can also be some of your own fears arising as well. Now, ultimately, when fears come up, they are there to be acknowledged and to be released. We don't become aware of our fears unless we are already in the process of releasing them. In fact, consciousness, awareness, is a transformative moment. It is a moment that can help us to change the energy profoundly. That is simply from awareness. That is how powerful awareness is. And so if you find yourself a little bit having to address feelings or reflections of what didn't work out in the past, ultimately it is that other perspective, it is that other view, it is that hindsight, if you will, that's then going to allow you to own your power that much more right now. Because of that beautiful Pluto connection, it tells me that you will be a force in the world right now. And as much as I would love to say, you can have anything you want, just ask for it. Yes, that fact is there. However, because of that Neptune connection, it does tell me to cast your net wide. Make sure that you aren't just putting all your eggs in one basket and thinking, okay, I'm going to make this big ask, and that's it, because this is the only way that it's got to go. If you want something, or if you want a way forward, then this is a great time to cast your net wide, ask as much, take as many chances, right? If it's something as simple as wanting new work, for example, well, this is where you don't want to just apply to a particular company for a particular position, but rather you want to make sure that you're applying to lots of different places. Wherever it is that you are ready to take action, and based on your own purposeful action, transform your circumstances dramatically, well, understand that there's something to be said for a specific path you see before you and an archetypal journey. There's something to be said for knowing that there are a million ways in which the universe can take you so that you do end up with a life that you love and feeling that sense of a renewed energy, that sense of freshness, that sense of aliveness, and knowing that there is something within you that you can trust that will move you forward. As we move further into the month, right around the 24th, we are going to have a full moon. Now, this full moon is happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with a few different things. On a more practical level, it might have to do with institutes of finances, so dealing with financial institutions. On a more archetypal personal level, it may have to do with understanding what meaningful change, what profound rebirth actually asks of you. And there is another way to understand this that I'll talk about a little bit further when we start talking about love. So where it comes to this energy, this full moon is standing across the sky from Mercury, which tells me there are going to be conversations. There are going to be talks happening at this time, and you'll be gathering different opinions. That connection with Mars tells me that you are feeling very empowered around this full moon. You're taking action that helps you to feel like things are moving forward. At the same time, though, there is that connection with Saturn that tells me that all things in their time, whether or not that time is now. So there are a few ways I see this playing out with Saturn involved. Really, Saturn ultimately says a few things. One is trust that all things will come about in the fullness of time, to give things the time that they need. And it also says that delays are not denials. It says that some things need to be earned, and they will only be earned by putting in the time. And so if it is around this time that you're hoping for a windfall, which might be part of the motivation at this time, just know that any windfalls that do come are going to be those that you've already been preparing for, that you've already put a lot of time and energy and work into. If it is at this time that you are hoping to make gains in terms of securing a grant or a loan or bursary or insurance payment or otherwise, well, this can be a time when you have to understand that there is a process and you have to surrender to that process. You might get a little bit of mixed information here, and as much as you are motivated, make sure that you're getting more than one opinion. At the same time, really, you do your best and you surrender the rest. But the great thing is that when we have such strong financial energy playing out, it means that the money you need is going to be there. And whether or not it's there in a snap, it really is okay. You will have what you need for right now. And certainly in the fullness of time, and especially if you're willing to put in the time, you will be able to secure the funding you need in due course. Now, where it comes to the more transformative qualities of this, I think that this is going to be a real moment of honesty. It's like 2 weeks earlier with the new moon that takes place in the early part of the month. That's when you're taking action. That's when you're planting seeds. Well, this is where you get to the core of the matter. This is where you start to get honest with yourself about whether or not you like the opportunities that are showing up for you and what the reality of various situations actually is, and where it is you're ready to make more meaningful change, and where it is that in some way, as much as you've initiated a change, you're ready to go to a deeper level, to a core level, and understand why it is and where it is your life was in a specific place. And what now, as much as the change might have started on more of an outer level, what is it now that is being reached within you, within your soul, that is asking you to reflect so that you really do change from the core outwards? Where it comes to matters of love, there are a couple of big things happening this month. First is early in the month, right around the 3rd, is when Venus will go into shadow as part of this year of retrogrades, right? There have been so many retrogrades happening. Well, it is going to be early in the month that Venus goes into shadow, but it really is right around the new moon in your sign. In fact, the same day of the new moon, that Venus will change signs, will enter a more conversational part of your sky, and will, in the following days, reach out to Uranus and Saturn. This is an important connection to watch because ultimately it is these conversations that are going to be repeated. And so it is important for you in particular to watch what is happening in the 5 days immediately following the new moon in your sign. Not only is it going to be deeply personal to you and about you, but it is also going to speak to love in some significant way. If it seems like you meet somebody new or you're interacting with somebody online in particular, you do want to make note of your own feelings, of what seems to be going on, because chances are what it is that you're feeling, and especially for you, the kind of conversations you're having, well, these are going to be matters that you are talking about again as we move further into this Venus retrograde season, which is going to take us right to the end of the year. Now, Venus retrograde specials, of course, are on my channel and are in the superstar space. And you will see on YouTube in the first days of September, you will see me talking a lot about that for all of us as well. Now, as we move to that full moon, that is really powerful. That full moon is going to be about intimacy. So it has to do with being deeply connected to another person, wanting profound intimacy, and really the superficial is just not going to cut it for you, especially with a month like this. I feel like with Neptune standing across the sky from the new moon in the early part of the month, that may play out in terms of love as well, in addition to Venus moving into a particular part of the sky that's going to speak to you more personally where it comes to love. Because what this says is that there are going to be some flowing emotions. There's going to be all kinds of feelings that you will be having in the early part of the month. Now, what does it actually mean? What are you actually wanting? Well, that's going to show up for you more fully at the full moon. If you are open to meeting someone new, this is where you may find yourself interacting with somebody at that full moon that you might have connected with, however briefly, in the earlier part of the month. But this is you really getting some truth, really getting a deeper perspective onto this person and realizing perhaps what it is and how it is that you have found yourself interacting with this person or attracting this person into your life. If it is that there are some complicated things about this person behind the surface, well, those are going to come forward at this time as well. For those of you in an established bond, this can be meaningful. This is really bonding with your partner on a deeper level of vulnerability and truly understanding emotional intimacy. So this can bring two people much closer together. And it looks like it's happening a lot through conversation at this time. That Mercury standing across the sky does suggest that. But I just want you to be a little bit careful with this energy because of that Saturn that's involved. It is important to pace yourself. So if it's just somebody that you're getting to know, that you're just kind of, uncovering the surface with, then this could be a time when there's this part of you that really wants intimacy and wants to take it, 10 steps forward. But it's important to understand that, as I like to say sometimes, that person that you're on a first date, second date, third date, fourth date with, that person is not your therapist. That is a person that you are getting to know, and that deeper layer of trust that you are wanting, that will come together in the fullness of time if you allow it. However, what can sometimes happen is our desire for deeper intimacy has us kind of rushing certain steps. Now, it could also be at this time that you are encouraged to share more, but it's you that's feeling a little resistant. It's you that's feeling a little reluctant. And I would say that really is okay, because with Saturn connecting to this full moon, it says all things in their time, and that delays are not necessarily denials. And it also asks you to pace yourself. Of course, it's always up to you to decide what's right for you in light of your unique circumstances. However, being mindful of giving all things time, and also being mindful of where it is that you are different or you're not who you were before and you don't need to indulge certain things, well, that's okay too. Ultimately, it is this full moon that can be powerful for those of you who are in an established bond, because it helps you to understand that there is and there are ways in which you can be more deeply knowing and deeply bonding of your partner. And this can also help you to understand more deeply that sometimes with love, it isn't just all sweetness and light. There is this sense of passion around this full moon that I absolutely love for you. But sometimes it is about being responsible to each other. It is about showing that you care in practical ways that actually can mean the most, especially in the fullness of time. What I love about this month for you, well, look, it's got to be that new moon in your sign. I think that's going to bring in fresh energy that is very needed, that is very much a wonderful invitation to the possibilities in front of you now. You are starting a new year of your life, and that is exciting, and that absolutely is something to celebrate. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this every week by logging on to nadiyashah.com. Sign up to be one of my superstars. Superstars get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes that are on my website as well. All of this in the superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.